Oh man, so Bitcoin is on track to achieving its worst quarter performance for more than 10 years. The markets really are in deep desperation right now. I shared with you guys over the last few weeks that there was plenty of risk to the downside, and I was not switching my bearish stance, and I continued to share with you guys the on-chain metrics, the technical analysis, the fundamental analysis, which was not giving us any positive hope of moving to the upside. But Moon Boys continued to tell you that Bitcoin was going to explode. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the next key levels we need to watch out for. Plus, we've got some interesting updates on FTX and Celsius, Suzu, and a whole bunch more. I think we finally figured out what has caused everything to collapse, right? From Celsius to free AC. What is the one catalyst that has driven all of that? I think we've managed to figure it out. We're going to go through that and a whole lot more. Hit up the like button, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. As always, if you want to buy any crypto, the two exchanges I recommend, links below, are to BYBIT and to BitGet. With BYBIT, we will be giving away an iPad or cash equivalent if you prefer when we reach 10,000 subscribers. With BitGet, we will be dropping random airdrops of cash into your account. So make sure you've got your ID set up, because that's the way I'm going to be able to transfer the cash, is if you use the link in the description. Right, markets. Let's take a quick look here at the markets. You've got the US markets down, the Dow Jones Index down 1%, S&P down 1%, and the Nasdaq down 1.32%. And they're now on track for the worst half-year close in decades. So this is not just crypto specific, and I've continued to say this to you guys for a while. This is not an indictment on crypto. The question is, however, is Bitcoin and crypto has not been through a severe deep recession. So if the economy does go through this deep recession, how will crypto fare? That's the only challenge right now. This is not a case of the markets are all up and crypto is just falling on its own because it's garbage. That's not what's happening. We're getting a wider stress test of the global economy, okay? And that is what's going on right now. If we head on over to Bitcoin, you can see here, we're sitting here on the hourly chart at 19,000. We've already wicked as low here as 18,700. Remember, the price target from the Adam and Eve pattern, which I was sharing with you guys, brings you to 18,413. But please go back and watch my on-chain metrics. I've explained why I think, my personal opinion, and this may not happen. It's not financial advice. It may not happen, but what I'm preparing for is another test of this low, another final push down to the downside, 17,500. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if we fell lower than this. I explained all of that in the on-chain metrics video, and you guys need to go take the time to watch that, because this retracement, even though we're 74% down from all-time high, is not as far retraced as we saw in the previous bear market. So really important that you understand the consequences of that. If I bring out the EMA ribbon, you'll be able to see here, even on the hourly, we're below our EMA ribbon. Don't be surprised to see if we get a little bit of a consolidation here over the next couple of hours. No big deal, right? It could come here, but still, we're still in full control of the bears, and proof of that is if we head on over to the 4 hourly, you can see just how extended we are. Let's get a clean chart so you guys can see that a little bit more clearly. And as you can see, hugely extended there on the 4 hourly chart. Okay, so big move here. Now don't be surprised if you see a little bit of a cooling off. Don't be surprised if that happens, a little bit of a pump back towards 20k even, but then back down, because the control is with the bears right now, and unfortunately the macroeconomic landscape is not suggesting much improvement. That being said, there is one little bit of hopium I've got, which is the PCE number, the core inflation number, and this is the number preferred by the Fed, which is why we monitor it. Did indeed come down. So it came in as 4.7% inflation, still very high, but it has come down. The consensus was 4.8. It came in at 4.7. So at least we avoid crashing if that came in higher. But the market's not taking that as any positive, right? We still got a lot of work to do. Inflation continues to be high as measured by PCE, as measured by CPI. And we know what Jerome Powell said. He's got a job to do. He's not going to stand back. If he needs to drive the economy into recession, he will do so. He doesn't want to, but he will do so because inflation needs to come down. That is the instructions we've got from the head of the FOMC. Guys, again, do check out BitGet, links in the description. Get yourself set up on this exchange. This is what I personally use to trade. I also dollar cost average and do a lot of my spot buying on here as well. So do check that out, links in the description. Now, let's take a look at this, because this was interesting. You had the crypto hedge fund owner, Suzu. Apparently, he went ahead and he's trying to sell his house, which is very, very interesting. you know, that we heard this happening a little while ago yesterday. We had crypto hedge fund 3 Arrows Capital reportedly ordered to be liquidated after massive losses. Then we heard this news of apparently he's trying to sell his mansion. I mean, this was shared by Fatman Terra over on Twitter, who was quite vocal in the whole Terra collapse. Verified sources confirmed that Suzu is urgently trying to sell his $35 million house in Singapore. There's no evidence behind this, but again, if that is something that is going on, then what is he trying to do, right? Is he trying to escape? Is he trying to get that money to pay back to people? We don't know. Also, as we can see here, FTX walked away from a deal with Celsius. Yes, remember, FTX was sniffing around Celsius, looking to see if they can get any cheap assets. Remember, we covered that off in detail here. By the way, if you've not seen what happened with Celsius, what are we even talking about, go watch here. If you don't know what we're talking about in terms of 3 Arrows Capital, you'll get caught up with this video here, and then come back to here to see what we're talking about. So yeah, they were sniffing around. Sam Bankman-Fried was looking to see if he could buy. And the interesting stat, the saying you'll find here, is Celsius had a $2 billion hole in its balance sheet, and FTX found the company difficult to deal with, one of the sources said. Unbelievable. $2 billion hole in the balance sheet, and it doesn't look good for clients' fund locked up in Celsius. So again, guys, heart goes out to you guys who had their funds locked up in Celsius. And again, just a final warning to all of you guys, if you have money in any of these lending platforms where you just don't understand what is going on, you're better off sitting on your keys. You take your crypto out, sit on it on a hardware wallet, at the very least a software wallet, and it's not worth the percents you're going to get yield farming or staking or doing whatever else you're doing right now. Just stay focused on holding your crypto in this bear market. Just hold on to those coins. That's the asset that you've got. That's what you paid for, and that is what you hold on to. All this yield and 5% here, 6%, 7% here, it's irrelevant right now. Just hold into your coins. When the market starts to stabilize, then go ahead, crack on doing what you want to do. Okay, now the other interesting thing I want to share with you was this. We spoke about SEC rejecting Grayscale's spot ETF, and now Grayscale are now launching a lawsuit going after the SEC. And this is very, very interesting. I think it's needed because the SEC has pretty much been going out left, right, center, firing at whoever they want to fire at, and nobody's really pushed back. And so Grayscale are coming out and saying, hang on a second, you guys are being a little bit, non-consistent with what you're doing. You're just kind of here, it says here, these include measures designed to prevent fraudulent and manipulative acts and parties. That's what the SEC is supposed to do. But what is manipulative about Grayscale wanted to convert into a spot ETF, right? Is there any issue with that? So this is going to be interesting to monitor how Grayscale get on here. As you guys know, the world is pretty corrupt. So don't be surprised if the SEC, I wasn't surprised that this got rejected because I know the SEC are better friends with BlackRock. And I think BlackRock ultimately get the first spot ETF. I mean, it just depends who you're friends with, right? That's the reality of traditional finance. Right, now let's move on to the important piece I wanted to share with you. And what we've managed to do is we found a Nansen report which reveals that Terra actually caused the state depeg and crippled Celsius and 3 Arrows Capital. So yes, now we finally got some evidence. We already knew that this was all contagion from the Terra Luna collapse, but now you've got direct links to say the Terra collapse has caused this domino effect, which has caused Celsius, 3 Arrows Capital, all these guys to struggle and causing this liquidity stress. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole article. You guys can flick through and have a read of this. But the main bits I wanted to point out was this. Nansen highlighted that during the UST depeg, BETH, which is a bridged ETH depositors, this is like a wrapped bridge version of staked ETH. So you can deposit your ETH into Lido, you get given staked ETH, right? You get given this thing here, staked ETH. But then you can go ahead and bridge that staked ETH. People do crazy stuff. Then you can go ahead and bridge that staked ETH, okay, to move it onto Terra. Now, what happened is during the UST debeg crisis, the BETH people all took their money out of Terra and they wanted to move it back across to Ethereum. So they moved it back across to Ethereum because obviously they knew that stuff was going on the Terra blockchain. And then obviously once they got there, they didn't want to sit in BETH. They didn't want to stick into BETH. They wanted to convert that back. So they converted their BETH and unwrapped it back into staked ETH. But even then they weren't comfortable because then people were still spooked, right? They were spooked by what's going on because you saw UST collapsing. What if my staked ETH collapsed? What happened was a whole bunch of people started redeeming their staked ETH for Ethereum. They wanted their Ethereum back. Now, what happens? Remember, your Ethereum is locked up in Lido. and you can't get it until the beacon chain goes live. So in that case, that affects the peg. The peg starts to depeg, and that is where you saw a whole bunch of chaos start to ensue. You saw a large set of outflows going out. Three Arrows Capital was one of the largest recipients of stake D from Curve, so naturally they would have felt the impact as well. So finally, we've got the connection between all of these different players in the market. So there you have it, guys. Crazy time in the market right now. Important that you guys stay level-headed. If you need to go for a walk, go for a walk. Set your limit orders if you're nibbling. The key right now is not to panic sell. If you've held onto your crypto for a while right now and you've not panic sold all the way to here, there is very little point, not financial advice, of you panic selling right now, is there? So the reality is we need to hold our conviction, build our conviction if you don't have enough, and then nibble away at your favorite projects. Like I said, I'm only focused on Bitcoin and Ethereum at this point. No energy or time for any of the small caps, particularly in this dangerous market where I'm expecting we could fall a little bit more to the downside. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to smash up the like button and subscribe. Do check out BYBIT and BITGET. Links in the description. Go watch this video, and I'll see you in the next one.